Hello, everyone. You are watching the Distinguished Speaker Series here at the University of North Carolina. Now, when I went to school here and started in 1989, it was Pembroke State University, and we called the television station WPSU, but things have changed. Today, we are lucky enough to have a distinguished guest, because it's certainly not me. Her name is Cynthia Marshall, the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, who's come here to really give a message of inspiration, a message of leadership. And my hope is that when you're done watching this program, that you feel empowered, especially now that we're at the start of a new year in 2020. Cynthia, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm just excited to be here at your alma mater. Oh my goodness, and to be back in the great state of North Carolina.
It is. This is a special place. And
I love it here.
Southeastern North Carolina and what Pembroke has offered. So here it is, a Distinguished Speaker Series tonight. Now we're going to go on set and talking about an hour and a half. So we've got more questions that I'm going to sandbag on a few of them here because I'm going to wait to take it to the stage. But let me first ask the question of how you got the job with the Dallas Mavericks. I know some of the backstory.
Okay.
Because Sports Illustrated did an expose on the Mavericks, and this place was running like a frat house, and Mark Cuban needed some help.
Yes. He
calls you. Take the story from there,
So
please.
Mark Cuban called. I was actually at home and working on some other things, and Mark Cuban actually he texted me and was sending me messages, and I didn't know if it was him. So my husband says, "You got to return this call." I said, "Okay," and so I didn't know Mark. He didn't know me, which I think is great because he wasn't trying to find somebody who he was friends with to come and kind of help him out of this. He really took somebody's advice and somebody who knew he was having a crisis and knew he was in need of a culture transformation in his organization, and they gave him my name. And so he called. I went to see him and had a great conversation with him for about almost an hour. My husband was all excited because it was Mark Cuban, so he was all dressed in Mavs blue and just all the right colors. I didn't know that. I didn't know what to put on because I was a Golden State Warriors fan until I started working at the Mavs. So now it's all about the Dallas Mavericks and what we're trying to do there. Mark was sincere about transforming the culture. He was sincere about wanting women to thrive there, wanting all the employees to thrive. He was sincere about wanting to get to the bottom of some things and to really start anew at the Mavs. And so after talking to him and going home to pray about it, and then I talked to two women on my way out of his office, I came back the next day and just said, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it, not just for the sisterhood, which is what I've said before, but I have to do it for everybody. It was my opportunity to do what Mark asked me to do, and that's to help transform the culture. But it was also my opportunity to just stop yelling at the TV when all this Me Too stuff happens and actually make a difference and go in and serve, just based on my 36 years of leadership experience that I had acquired at AT&T. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it.
So Cynthia, you mentioned the word culture.
Yes.
Something that I've kind of learned along the way is there's culture, but then there's climate. You have to know what the climate is before you can go ahead and change the culture.
Oh, yeah.
So when you got in there, tell me about that climate.
Well, a lot of the things that were in the Sports Illustrated article, those things had happened in years past. But I would say there was a climate, there wasn't an inclusive climate. There was a climate that was not friendly to women, the way I think you need to be friendly to everybody in a workplace. There was a climate that really just said, a certain few people kind of ran things, so not really, getting a lot of people involved. So it wasn't the kind of business climate that it takes in order for a place to be a great place to work. And fortunately, because of my background, I worked in a place for 36 years where we actually transformed the culture and became a great place to work. And fortunately, I was blessed to lead that effort for AT&T. So I knew the difference between climate, which is kind of what's happening in there where we are right now. It's like you take the pulse, it's the weather.
Right.
It's the weather, you go in there. But then you think long term, what do you want this whole culture to be? Because even when the climate gets kind of murky, if there's the right culture in there, you can address that really quickly. And so our job was not just to address the climate. We had to assess it, we had to take our temperature, but to really instill a culture. And that's what I laid out laid out a whole plan to do that.
And the culture was recently rewarded by the NBA.
I know, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the NBA in their sales and marketing annual meeting. They give out a lot of awards, and we actually received 4 of them, but the big one was the NBA's Inclusion Leadership Award, which we didn't really go there to get it. We were asked just to tell our story. And a lot of teams told the story, and they gave us the actual leadership award just for the progress we've made, because I never want people to think we're there, because we'll never be there. There will always be something to do. There'll always be a new bar to climb. But we actually transformed the culture. And it started with putting a set of values in place. Character, and you know these: character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety. So it spells crafts. We put the values in place and said, we laid out a vision that said, we will set the global standard for diversity and inclusion. This will be a place where every voice matters and everybody belongs. And so we just put in a series of initiatives to make that happen. And the NBA awarded, they recognized our progress.
So when you think about a CEO running a basketball organization, people think, well, how much do you know about basketball? Explain to some of our viewers out there about the scope of what it is you do, and that you're not scouting the players, you're not at the Final Four, but but the bigger role of what a CEO does for a massive global enterprise. 'Cause that's what the NBA is. It's a massive global entertainment company.
It is, and in fact, yesterday I had the benefit of attending the memorial service for former NBA Commissioner David Stern. And it was a beautiful, beautiful service. And almost everybody who got up to speak talked about how he turned it into a global enterprise. I mean, he really had a vision. And I just sat there very humbled, thinking, I'm a part of this now. I'm really a part of this vision that he had. And it is global. And so what I do, I lead the business office. So I lead the business side. So when you go to games, all the entertainment that occurs, my team puts that on. Walking into the arena, the people that are in the box office, we run all the box office. We do the sales and ticketing, the marketing. We get the corporate sponsors. We run game day operations. So our job is all the non-basketball stuff. So we have Donnie Nelson, who's the general manager, Rick Carlisle, who's the coach, Mark Cuban, who's the owner, and then I am the CEO on the business side. And so all 4 of us together lead the Dallas Mavericks.
So for you, you just signed a new sponsor, Chime.
Chime, yes.
How long does it take, the process? Because you just don't want anybody to have their patch on your uniform.
No.
And I know how you are.
You know how I am.
They have to pass the scent test.
You know it.
So to find a company, find a match, because you're about your culture. Take us through that process.
Okay, so we had a jersey patch sponsor, and so that came to an end. And we said we were not going to be in a rush. Now, of course, all 30 teams are out there looking for their jersey patch sponsors. The program started in 2017. And so we said, we're not going to be in a rush. So the season started, we still didn't have one. We said, no, we have to find the right one. And what was important to us is that we have a company that was innovative, because we're all about innovation, a company that was creative, but more importantly, a company where their culture aligned with ours. And so it had to be a place where their employees mattered. It had to be a place where diversity and inclusion was important to them and they were truly living it out. It had to be a company that was out in the community and to really show that they care about the things that people care about. I often tell my team, we don't just work here, we live here too. So we wanted a company that demonstrated that. Okay. And it was we got fortunate that we were contacted by Chime. And so they're a financial services organization, online financial services organization, and they're totally recreating how you actually do banking. And so we met with them a few times, and I was impressed with their CEO, their co-founder, Chris Britt, impressed with the climate. I mean, they've actually, the climate and the culture, I was impressed with. They're actually a great place to work. You know, there's the Great Place to Work Institute. They are a certified great place to work because of how they treat the employees, how they treat their customers, their innovation, what they're doing, their values. It totally aligned with ours. And after meeting him, he said, I'm all in. I said, we are too. We have to do this. And our team worked really hard for only about 3 months, though. Only about 3 months. So the process went fairly quickly in our case.
Let me ask some personal questions here. Mark Cuban comes to you.
Yes.
And you know, whatever situation happens, there's talk behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Cyn only got the job because she's black. Cyn just got the job because he needed a woman here. You know, people say those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you tell me, your response when you hear that chatter. Because there's always going to be naysayers. Whatever it is you do, there's going to be naysayers here.
Always. I saw something online with the Chime announcement the other day that said, we cannot believe that Mark Cuban has a black woman as the CEO. And then they said, well, I'm not saying she's not qualified. Okay, whatever. Here's what I tell people. Yes, Mark Cuban made history by appointing the first African-American female CEO of an NBA team. He wasn't trying to make history. He was trying to make a difference. What he was trying to do was make a difference for the 140 people at that time who worked in that business office and the people who were not working in the kind of environment they should have been in. And so when he heard my name and when he did his research and when he looked at my record, he said, here's somebody I think can come in and make a difference. He didn't know me, but he knew my record, and he also had heard some things from some people that he trusted. He didn't care that I was a woman. He didn't care that I was black. Obviously, he could see that when I showed up, but that wasn't the issue. He wanted to know what work had I done to actually help AT&T become a great place to work. And had I been in those kind of situations, and having previously been the head of the senior vice president of HR, and also the chief diversity officer, but then also years of experience in running certain businesses like here in AT&T in North Carolina, all that I think mattered to him. And he didn't care about the color or the gender. It just, it didn't matter.
Now, spin that back around.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are fans of Cynthia Marshall and the Mavericks because she is black. Mm-hmm. She looks like me.
Yes.
She is a woman. I'm a woman. I see a woman doing something in a male-dominated sport.
And that's great. All that's good too. And we take advantage of all that because it's all about diversity and inclusion. You want people to be able to identify with that. I mean, there are white people too and men too who come up to me all the time and they're so happy I'm in this job because it is different. The culture has changed, and I haven't done it by myself. I mean, obviously it takes a team to do it, but they are proud of the fact that Mark did something different and that Dallas did something different.
Okay, so I come to this portion because we have students right here at UNC Pembroke, and I want them to hear this from you.
Yes.
People, in my opinion, don't think big enough. Mm-hmm. You were born in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes.
Raised in California.
Yes.
Here you are running a $2 billion operation here. Let them know and understand about how big the vision can be.
The vision can be as big as you want it to be. There are 4 words that I live by, and I'll talk about this later. Dream, focus, pray, and act. And it starts with a dream. And when I was raised in a public housing project with all the things that normally you would think of that could go on in a public housing project, I experienced all of that. My mother had big dreams. And so she put 2 books in my hand, a math book in one hand and the Bible in the other. And she said, you can go as far as you want to go. You can do whatever you want to do. Have big dreams. So I was taught that. And so I always had big dreams. When I got out of college, I had big dreams. When I retired, I still had big dreams. I still have big dreams now. I'm never going to stop dreaming. And I told some of the students earlier, have big dreams, have passion, work hard, and then be open to whatever is out there. You can do whatever you want to do. You're not going to want to do everything, and sometimes you just have to be open. I mean, when Mark called me, I wasn't thinking about being a CEO of an NBA team. That's crazy. I mean, that wasn't something that was kind of in my dream. My dream was to be a college president. I was on my way back to North Carolina to talk to some colleges, but I was open to making an impact. I wanted to make a difference. I mean, that's my dream, to be able to touch lives, to make a difference. So to these young people that are out there, you can do whatever you set your mind to do. I mean, whatever.
For the next person who says, okay, I'm inspired by her, I want to be her, what do they need to do?
Well, they need to call me. They need to call me. I'm serious. I have people shadow me all the time. Like they come walk a day in my shoes, because you might think you want to be me. And what I tell them all the time, you'll be better than me. I mean, you absolutely will be better than me. And that's why we do what we do every day, so that these young people can be better than us. I'm relying on them to be better than me. I mean, they got to be better than me. The world is changing. Technology is changing. They better know how to work this technology much better than I know how to work it. So they'll be better than me. But the start is to come and spend some time in my shoes. Let me mentor them. Let me talk to them and go deep about what happened to me for, growing up, and then when I was in college, and some of the decisions I made, like when I put my boyfriend on hold for 4 years because I wanted to focus and really get down to business with school, and then some of the times that I turned down a promotion in my career because there were some things I wanted to learn and I didn't want to go too fast. I want to take people through my 36-year career.
Wait. 4 years you put a man on ice?
I put him on ice.
Was he still there at the end of 4 years? Or
Yeah.
wasn't it easy to just dismiss him?
Well, no.
I like you, but I'm gonna like you more in 4 years.
But it was
something.
something like, okay, it's my first week in college, and he called to tell me he transferred schools so that he could be near me. And I said, okay, well, surprise. He goes, no, the surprise is I'm at San Francisco State University now. I'm right across the bridge. And I said, okay, well, the surprise is I'll call you the day I graduate, because I'm focused. My first week in college, honestly, I'm on Berkeley's campus. I'm looking up at the big Sather Gate and the Campanile. Everything looked so big. I'm 17 years old. I'm a girl from the projects. And I knew I was living a dream. And I said, this is the beginning of the rest of my life. I got to focus. I have to take advantage of every opportunity I have. So I told him I'd call him when I graduate. And so when I graduated, literally the day I graduated, I called him. And I said, hey, this is Cent. He said, Cent who? I said, don't act like you don't know who I am. Boy, I said, I just graduated. I was so excited. I said, I just graduated. And in fact, I told him, I told you I was going to call you the day I graduated. He goes, I haven't heard from you in 4 years. I said, oh, wait a minute. I told you I was going to call you. I just graduated at 2 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. My mom's having a party at 6. She's in the same place in the project. She's working hard. I'm going to help her get out. And so I was telling him I was going to start working for the phone company. I was just wild. I was so happy the day I graduated from college, because I knew what it meant for my family. And he says, well, I can't come to the party. I'm engaged. Boyfriend, that would be the wrong answer. I said, no. I said, I kept my end of the bargain. You got to show up to the party. He said, no, I'm engaged. And people ask me all the time now what happened to her, because I don't know what happened to her. But he came to the party, and I've been married 36 years. Yes. He came to the party. And so when I tell this story at commencement addresses, I tell the kids right now, okay? So everybody, I said, stop right now. You know you have your phones under those gowns somewhere. Grab that phone and call them and tell them you'll call them in 4 years. Put them on hold. Put them on hold. You got to focus and handle your business.
Okay. So this brings me back to the why. People always say when you have the why, the how shows up. Nick Saban, the University of Alabama, always say, okay, look, what are you willing to give up to be successful? Everybody talks about wanting to be, everybody talk about being the big dog, I'll be a star, I'm gonna be this, that. But he says, what are you willing to do to give it up? You wanted an education from Cal Berkeley so bad, you told a boyfriend, potential, no.
Yes.
Wow.
Just put it on hold.
Wow.
Now, I didn't shut my life down. I mean, I ended up doing great stuff there. I was the first African-American cheerleader at Berkeley. I was in a sorority. I mean, I enjoyed my college experience. But for me, I couldn't be saddled down with a 4-year commitment, because I was about books and Jesus. I mean, honestly, that's what I was about. I was still involved in church. So I was doing my church thing. I was in my books. I had my stuff going on campus. I didn't have time to be chasing around some cutie pie who wanted to play when I needed to study. I needed to handle my business. This was my ticket out of poverty, not just for me, but for my whole family. And I was serious about it. But I was taught that. It's not that all of a sudden I had some great revelation at 17 years old to put them on hold. I was taught to focus. That's why I love educators. I think they're the best people on the planet. Educators poured into me. They literally saved my life. They poured into me. My mother poured into me. And so they just gave me some good advice. And that's advice I give to a lot of these young people. Listen. There are people in your life who have your best interests at heart, and they know more than you know. So when my mother told me to keep that math book in one hand and the Bible in the other, I did that. When my mother told me to focus, and my teachers especially said, you're going to college now, you're going to have to be really focused, and that's the word they would use. I'd play that back my whole 4 years, and so I'd make decisions based on what these people told me. I made decisions based on what my advisors told me on campus. I listened to these big people, and I didn't have time for anything outside of that, no distractions, and I still had fun. And I've been married to him 36 years. It all worked out.
Take me through having a business career
Yes.
and also raising a family and trying to make sure you're mom along the way.
You know what? You have to. What I've known for a long time is what's important to me, and so I tell people that all the time. You have to know what's important to you, and so family was important to me. Having a career was also important to me. Faith is important to me. And so what I have somehow been blessed to do is figure out how to blend it all. I don't believe in work-life balance. People talk about that at all. I said, I don't believe in that because that means at some point in time, something's gonna be low. I gotta try to bring it back up. My family, my kids would never be down there. So what I believe in is work-life integration. I can do it all. Sometimes I can't do it all in one day. So I just have to make decisions and I have to prioritize. And I prioritize by something called crystal balls and rubber balls. Crystal balls are the things in my life that if I drop them, they shatter, they never come back. It's crystal, glass, it's broken. Rubber balls bounce back. And so I have done that for years, whether it be an activity for my kids in school, something at work, something in the community. What is it that I just cannot drop? And so I go through this whole integration act almost every single day. And so I've been blessed. I've been able to have it all. And a lot of great support, a lot of great support. I believe in the village. The village raised me, the village is still raising me. And I'm part of a village just raising some other people and helping other people. I truly believe, I learned in college, I was in a sorority, Delta Gamma. And so we used to have Vespers on Monday nights, and we used to sing this song, No Man is an Island. I thought that thing was so corny. I'm 19 years old. We'd all hold, you know, in college you just get all these new experiences, or you should get new experiences. So we're all these college kids and we'd hold hands and, you know, pray a little bit. And so the song said, no man is an island, no man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. We need one another, so I will defend. Each man as my brother, each man as my friend. I learned that in college at 19 years old. It took me years later to realize what I was actually saying, and that is no man or woman is an island. We truly need each other. And so that's how I've gotten to the point where I've gotten to now personally and professionally. I have relied on a lot of people, but I've also been there for a lot of people. And together we just make it all happen.
What advice do you have for our UNCP students who want to get in the door? Okay, for the people who come to work for you, the young people.
Yes.
How do they stay in? I tell people all the time, you can get in. Can you stay in?
Okay, this is how you stay in. First of all, you have to show up. You have to show up. You have to show up on time. You have to have a passion for what you do. You have to deliver the results. You have to deliver. You can't come in my office just talking and looking good and putting on a show. I need to see results. Metrics matter, okay? The data, data doesn't lie.
You keeping
okay?
score.
I'm keeping score. And if you're supposed to be selling tickets, I need to know how many season ticket members you brought in last week. So a strong work ethic, I think is important, but also interpersonal skills and teamwork. The ability to get along with people, the ability to get along with different cultures, the ability to be inclusive and to help be a positive part of the culture that we have created, which is one of character and integrity. You have to tell the truth. You have to be a person of character. That is a non-starter. You will walk out if you are not telling the truth. You have to respect each other. You have to be authentic, and not just you be authentic, but you have to be okay with other people being authentic and bringing their authentic selves to work. You have to be fair. We have a workplace where we treat people fairly, and you have to be a team player, and then you have to help us create an environment of physical and emotional safety. And so those are our values: character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety. You have to live those every single day, and you can work at the Dallas Mavericks.
Give me your favorite moment being involved in the NBA so far?
Oh, one of my favorite moments, of course, is when we got that award a couple of days ago. That just made me feel good about the work that so many people have done. I think my other favorite moment was last year on, I believe it was our Black History Night, when I was standing on the court. In fact, they couldn't see me because the players are so tall. And people later said, "Sin, I thought you were going to be on the court with the players," but I was right by Dirk, so nobody could see me. And I was standing there in my kente cloth.
I was there that night.
Being authentic and being accepted as a woman, as a Black woman, and feeling good about who I was and what we were actually doing at the Dallas Mavericks on and off the court. That was my proudest moment. And of course, we've had a lot of them. Seats for Soldiers, when you see what we're doing with the soldiers and you bring them in, that's a proud moment. I've had a lot of them. I'm having a ball. I am. I'm having a good time.
How good is Luka Doncic?
He is phenomenal. I mean, he's the MVP to me. I mean, he is, and I guess that'll be announced tomorrow. So we'll see what happens.
NBA All-Star starters, yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Year number 2 there.
He's incredible. He'll be an All-Star again. Yeah, it's going to be announced tomorrow, but I think we might have a few more. We have a phenomenal team, and that's what I love. We have a true team. Yes, we have some superstars, but we have a true team. And so they just all pitch in and do what needs to be done. And so I think sometimes people are surprised about that. Like if Luka doesn't play to his normal, phenomenal standards.
The triple-double stuff we come used to. Right?
Yes, then everybody else, comes in. You know what I love about Luka, and I usually don't single out the players. I mean, they're all phenomenal in their own right. But what I love about Luka is he is so humble and he won't take the credit. And when you interview him, and you know this, he gives everybody else the credit. He's amazing. He's amazing. The whole team is amazing. I'm proud of our team because they understand teamwork. And so we learn from them. On the business side, we learn from them. What I really wanted us to do is create a culture on the business side that mirrored the culture on the basketball side. It was a culture of teamwork, a culture of character. They're just phenomenal. I wanted us to have that, and so we have it now. We have it.
Cint, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Coming here to the University of North Carolina, Pembroke, and being a part of our Distinguished Speaker Series. Cynthia Marshall.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. We appreciate you watching the Distinguished Speaker Series right here from the University of North Carolina. I am UNCP alum, Newy Scruggs.